Hey gardeners, welcome back to our channel. We are late, but we are here. We're going to be giving you a tour of our 2024 spring/summer garden. We've recorded this video with sound, but unfortunately the sound did not actually record while I was going through. So I'm doing the voiceover to go back through it, so the words might not match up, but we're going to get through it. So let's go and get started with the tour, guys. Okay, so I started off by showing you guys the plum tree that we recently got from a local plant store here where we live. The leaves, when I bought it, the leaves were full, but now the leaves have started dropping off. But as you can see, the leaves are trying to come back now, so it's just going through a little something right now. Right up under the plum tree, I have this small little pot of strawberries. I wish I would have planted this in something a lot bigger to produce more strawberries, but it was a trial and error for this year. But it did put out a little bit of strawberries and that I was able to enjoy, so I'm fine with that. Next year I'll know to put it in a bigger bed or a bigger pot. Inside the greenhouse, we have my blueberry tree that my mom gave me 2 years ago, named Esther. She's still putting out a lot of blueberries. We just have to keep it in here because the birds love trying to get it, and I'm not for that. On the other side of the greenhouse, I just had some house plants that I started propagated and created little pots out of that I didn't want to keep in the house, so I just brought those out here. Here we have one of our eucalyptus plants that was sitting on the deck before, but we had to put out here because we are working on the deck. And she is growing beautifully and she smells so good. We done had her about 3 years now, possibly 4, 3 for sure that I know of. And beside her, we have our beautiful calamundan tree that puts out a lot of calamundans every year now, twice a year to be honest. And we got this tree 3 years ago now, and it's producing so much fruit. We don't really know what to do with it at this point. Right next to the calamundan tree, we have this nice little blueberry bush that I picked up from the plant store this year as well. So we're going to see how much fruit it can produce for me next year. And down at the bottom, we have some propagated trees that Bay started in our propagation system. I think it's a lime and a lemon tree. And then the actual box here, we have ginger on one half of the box and the part there. And then on the other side, we have some onions and some garlic. I can't remember. I kind of mixed them in, which I know I'm not supposed to do, but I just mixed them in, threw them in there, and we're going to see what happens from there. Right next to the garden box, I have some lemongrass growing in a pot here that I plan on cutting down at the end of the season and just making some tea out of that, of course. Right behind the greenhouse, we have a big jumble of a mess, I'm not going to lie, that I need to clean up, but everything has its place. In this corner, we have some sage, once it zooms in, that you can see on the corner. Right behind that, we have the lemon balm, 2 pots of that we picked up. Then I have another little small pot of lemongrass that's not doing so good because I keep forgetting to water it. And right beside that, I have a little tiny bush of sage that's struggling to grow, and rosemary in a pot, and also a little pot of rue that I picked up from the farmer's market as well. It's a medicinal plant that's good for multiple things. This little bundle here is 2 different types of spinach plants that we planted in the ground that's doing very well. I'm not gonna lie, every time I show you guys the spinach, I feel like I keep forgetting the name of it, but just know that both are 2 different types of spinach. And this little pile right here beside it is some catnip that's kind of struggling, but we're still trying to see if it can come through for us. Right behind the catnip is a little small bush of citronella that's kind of mixed in with some weeds, with a little bundle of purple heart that's growing beside it that we did not plant. It actually was here when we moved in the house, but it's growing so nicely back here, so we decided to let it just keep going. Okay, moving over to our fruit trees that are in pots. The first one is a lime tree. Right beside that is our lemon tree. And this big old juicy fruit tree next to it is a apple combo tree. And I think it's 6 tier, possibly 7 tier, but for sure it's a 6 tier apple combo tree that we picked up as of last year. Moving over to our first wooden garden bed, we have some purple bell peppers here that I picked all of them off of currently. Then I have this red chili pepper plant back here. I just picked that one off because that one was clearly ready. In front of that I have a nice little marigold bush that's getting kind of buried in all of the mess that I started from seed. In the back here we have a bean plant that's growing. You can kind of see, there you go, you can see the green bean that's growing there, but she just kind of choked in with the massive tomato plant that we have. I did not plan this bed out really well, you guys. It looks like a jungle, as you can see, but as you know, we are still learning. Even though we've been gardening for years, we still make mistakes, so as long as I get my food out of it, I'm fine. Moving on to one of our smaller garden beds, I have it half full of sweet potatoes. As you can see, it is going crazy in here, so I'm super excited about those growing for me. I did plant some ginger in here too to kind of fill in the empty space on the other side, but that didn't really come up for me, so it's just kind of empty right there. And then this purslane that just keeps popping up everywhere in the yard decided to pop up in this garden bed as well, so I'm just letting it do its thing until the sweet potatoes start to take over. Right next to this garden bed we have a peach tree that we got as of this year as well, from also the same fruit/plant store that we shop at. And right below it we have some more propagated fruit trees that we started inside of the house that we just placed in some pots around the garden to see if they'll grow for us. Moving over to another one of the beds. This is one of my least favorite beds just because I just don't like how it looks, but it is what it is. But anyway, I have 2 tomato plants in here and then 2 pepper plants that are planted right in the middle. One of the pepper plants is a habanero pepper and the other one is either a Grim Reaper pepper or a Carolina red hot pepper. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it's a really hot pepper, let's just say that. And we have a tree next to this garden bed. This is our orange tree that looks a little scarce, but she's hanging on there. As you can see, we have some orange fruit on there, so I'm excited about that coming. And we have this big old banana tree right beside it that we have had for 2 years now that's hanging strong for us. Across from the big banana tree we have 2 smaller banana trees that are in the same pot. It was actually only one, but then the baby started growing to be the height of the mama plant, so apparently she's doing really well. Eventually we're going to put those banana trees in the ground. And right beside it we have a apple tree that we saved from Walmart that's doing really good. The leaves are looking really good on it, so I'm happy about that. Don't really know when to expect fruit, but we'll just be patient with it. And this beautiful garden bed right next to it is just full of butternut squash. Bay's co-worker gave him a cup full of butternut squash seeds, and I just kind of threw them all in this bed. I low-key kind of choked each other out with the seeds, but we'll see if it gives me some fruit. I'm pretty sure it did because this video is now a little late, but it absolutely gave me a lot of butternut squash that I'm hoping to share with you guys in a later video. Next to this garden bed we have a small elderberry bush that we got from propagation from Bay's mom. Next to that is a little lime tree down there and the big peach tree that's right behind it. Also our second peach tree that we picked up as of this year as well. Over in this next garden bed we have the Jamaican sorrel plant that's growing big here. As you can see, it's choking out this entire garden bed. I have a little Tabasco plant that's kind of tucked away there that's getting choked out. But I'm just going to use this plant to make the hibiscus tea once the flowers come in. Now moving over to my favorite part of the garden, which is the trellis. On this part of the trellis we have some melons growing. You can see I have a few small melons that's coming in for me that I'm super excited about. I also have a huge sunflower that's growing over on the corner of this. It just kind of fell over on the trellis itself, so I just left it there for the bees to come in and kind of help pollinate the other plants. On this side of the trellis I have cantaloupe growing on the end. We have some grapes that are growing in the middle that's been there for a while, and I have cucumbers growing on the other end of this trellis. They're still new plants, so they haven't caught up yet to the white grapes, but they're trying their best to get there. As you can see as I zoom in, there's one little tiny cucumber that's trying to catch up, so we'll see what happens. Moving over to our long other wooden garden bed, we have a bundle of stuff in here. So we have some green onions that's growing on the corner here that's doing very well. I have a little black bean plant that I'm super excited to grow. I always wanted to try growing black beans, and it is putting out little beans for me, as you can see, and they're turning black. So I mean, they're a black bean plant, but anyway, I was super excited to have this plant. I never thought I would be able to grow a black bean, so this was very exciting for me. Right beside the green onions, I just have a little flower plant to bring the bee pollinators over. I can't remember the name of that flower. And right next to that, we have some in-ground beets that are coming up there. Half of those I got from Denzel's mom, and the other half I got from the farmer's market, and they've been doing really well. And this big pile right next to that is our eggplants. One of them is a Black Beauty eggplant, I think, but it's turning out purple, but it's kind of dark, kind of black, so it is what it is. And over tucked in the back side is supposed to be a white eggplant. As you can see, it's putting out a little white tint for us. So this is our first time growing white eggplants. I've tried growing purple eggplants last year before, and it did okay, but this year is doing really well. And on the deep corner here is our squash plant that's putting out so much squash. I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I put the squash plant in a terrible spot. So next year I'm definitely gonna think twice about where I'm gonna place my squash plant. But it's putting out squash, so I'm not too bad about it. And over on the very end corner of the garden is another big pile of a mess. So we have a bunch of little plants just stuck in beside the compost, but here is 2 jalapeno plants that we preserved from last year, and they're doing really good. They're still putting out jalapenos for us, so we just kind of trying to baby them and keep them going. This next to it is our pomegranate tree that we just got this year, and then we have the olive tree that's right in front of it. It actually was putting out fruit, a little bit of fruit, as you can see. It's trying to create the little olives. It's not doing so well, but it's trying its best, so we'll see what happens. Over in this tiny little pot here is my juniper cutting that my mom pulled out of her yard out there in the country, and it's doing really well. I desperately need to repot this. The roots are coming out the bottom, but I'm gonna get there. Here we're just showing you a little close-up of the jalapenos that's still growing on the little jalapeno plants we have. I'm surprised it's still hanging in there, y'all. This is my first time preserving a plant from the year before. Also, this Tabasco plant we preserved from the previous year that's now coming out with more peppers as well. So it's just a trial and error when it comes to these peppers. Behind that we have the pecan tree that we also got as of this year as well. That looks so beautiful and is doing very well. And the fig tree that's right in front of it that looks way better than it did last year. So I'm excited about that fig tree, even though I don't like figs. Next to it we have our other Tabasco plant, the biggest Tabasco plant we had from the previous year that we brought back. A little small raspberry bush that I just put over here to see what it can do. And my first time trying out growing corn on a cob. It's not looking so well, but I'm still going to try and see what happens. It didn't really do good, and I wasn't able to get any corn off of it, but we'll see what happens next year. But yeah, gardeners, this is a tour of our spring/summer 2024 garden. We have come a long way, and there's Rallo chilling. We love chilling back there. Hey, Rallo. He's so friendly. He's so beautiful. I love my Rallo. But anyway, you guys, that's a tour of the garden for this year. We're also redoing our deck. Bay has already taken it down, so we are in the process of getting that redone as well. So the backyard is a little mess, and we are getting rid of that garden bed as well too. But anyway, you guys, thanks so much for watching this video with us. Sorry this is super late, but we'll see you on the next video. Bye guys.